and let's start streaming. Briefly check the stream whether it seems to work. Okay, that's looking good. Hello. I don't know whether someone can hear me. I'm public, but there's nobody viewing. But I'm having an excellent connection. So, yeah. Test. So let's move that to desktop 1. Don't know that good idea. So yeah, great. And let me just switch scenes here. So hello. Today you can see me. I'm using a really old webcam that's taped to the left side of my computer monitor, and yeah, that's something new. Can tell you that. So I was trying something earlier, and that is well, making my desk dirty. No, I was trying, or I was not trying something. I was doing something, and I was flashing an SD card from the PinePhone eMMC install to from eMMC to SD. That's what I was doing. So I was putting an SD card in, flashing to it. I tried to use GNOME disks. Wouldn't work. I don't know. I didn't debug it. I just used DD. And now I'm here on today's release of Linux Mobile or Arch Linux ARM, and I'm going to try to how do you say flash to eMMC from this. So while I'm doing something with my computer, I'm putting this in this dock so that you can see the PinePhone in all its glory. It's a weird angle, I'm sorry for that, but yeah, this is still very much early days for me, and apparently someone joined the chat briefly. I don't know what's going on there. Times before I always had viewers, but well, maybe it's Christmas. So yeah, I will just make it so that I can see the chat maybe, because that would be helpful, I guess. Right? Should be helpful. I'll just try pop it out and then put it on my OBS screen. Sorry for that. That's something I should do before I start. But yeah, there's a lot I should do before I start stuff. It's amazing how often I still forget to switch on my special network. I've got this special Wi-Fi travel router that I'm using for my videos, which has the LINMOB SSID, and yeah, I'm totally forgetting that all the time. So I don't know whether that will ever get better, but yeah, I mean, you learn to live with your own deficiencies, right? So I should see the chat. It's floating above my OBS Studio window. So if anything is wrong with the audio and you are joining this, please do tell me. The lighting is a bit off, but yeah, that's the problem. If I turn it way more down, it's wrong for the phones. So those aren't well lit. I mean, there's some trade-off I need to make there, looks like, because I'm not having a really professional recording setup here. This is not a studio. This is just, well, the apartment I'm living in with the desk in one corner of the room and all that shit. You know how that goes. I would love to have a specialized studio, but yeah, I mean, man gotta have dreams, right? So what did I want to test now? Oh yeah, I was going to do something with screen copy, because I think I should have that on the same virtual workspace as I have OBS too. Because this camera here, the PinePhone camera, is actually Google Pixel 3 XL. So yeah, and I'm happily using it, and I can use it to turn the brightness down here and see how that then looks with the turned on PinePhone. Looks like I can turn it down, but the whiteness in my face doesn't change. Yeah, whatever. This is not a good camera I'm using here. It's a PlayStation 3 cam. VGA. So it's really quite terrible actually. But yeah, you know, you gotta use what you have. And so I'm using that. I will try to, well, I can't decrease the brightness. Could decrease the contrast a bit, but then that gets weird. It's all mushy. Could add sharpness. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. Oh, this is my face. I'm going to have to deal with it. And these are my hands. And now I'm going to do something, finally. But there's still nobody in the chat, and I don't know whether anybody's watching. Can't see that, unfortunately, because yeah, can't. Oh, someone's watching. Could you tell me, please, if you can hear me? That would be very kind. So what I'm going to do here to repeat this, earlier today, I recorded this with OBS, but I didn't stream it. I basically took my UV ports edition PinePhone and okay, very quiet. Oh God, not again. Why is it always very quiet? My audio levels are fine here. YouTube. Why are you such a expletive? You know what? Okay, is this better? Can you hear me better now? Is this loud enough? Or is it weird? I can also do this. Hello, echo. Sorry. Just kidding here. Yeah, I can turn this up a bit, and now I'm always in the yellow part there. I don't know why YouTube doesn't just work like normal stuff and applies some magic. It's not that difficult if you've got a ton of servers with basically unlimited compute power. So what I did earlier, I had post-MarketOS installed on this, and then I can go back to the echo if you like that. So I had post-MarketOS stable installed on this, and I decided to do the self-sufficient PinePhone stuff. So I downloaded on the PinePhone with Firefox, I downloaded the today's release of DankNix Mobile or Arch Linux ARM, and I installed that to an SD card that I put in during that video, and then I yeah, that really took a long time. Download takes like 4 minutes, and then flashing, but extracting it first took basically forever, and then I DD'd it to the PinePhone, and well, that also took a while. And now I'm figuring, okay, this is running from SD card, today's release. By the way, it's, if you want to see something about the new Danknix release, if I should demo some little something that might be new shortly, just write it in the chat. There's certainly going to be time while I'm DDing an image to the SD card here. I can't demo phone calls, by the way, because I don't have a SIM card in here, so nothing cellular. But anything else I should be able to demo. As long as it wouldn't require preparation. So I'm going to join my stupid show network here. Okay, boom. There we go. And now I will just open Firefox. Ding, 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 ding. Whoa, there it is. Yeah, this is not a fast SD card, mind you. It is a bit faster from the eMMC. Oh, by the way, one thing that's new. Oh no, I'm going to demo that later. So I'm going to go to mobianproject.org. I hope that's even the right domain. And I'm going to go to downloads. Let's zoom in here, PinePhone. And then I'm going to go with the installer because I've always wanted to try this too. So I'm going to tap this. And now it's asking me what it wants to do. Cancel or save file. And of course I want to save the file. And it's downloading now. And that's going to take a while. And during that, I think I can demo stuff. So yeah, this is today's Arch Linux ARM image, my favorite distribution. There seems to be a new version of Geary in there. Sadly, I don't have any account that has a super easy password that I could set it up just like this. Also, I wouldn't be able to censor parts of this, so yeah, would be a privacy nightmare to do that. But it's apparently a very new release, which Purism worked on, so it should be fine on mobile. I like that it has this warning crime scene style band there at the bottom, which looks a lot like yeah, warning crime scene, whatever. So it seems to be a bit beta maybe, but yeah. That's new. Of course, megapixels should be pretty current. And it's using F2FS, which takes a long time on first boot. So megapixels still has this bug for me where it's always bluish. I can see that my desk isn't actually in order, and hello, second PinePhone there. Yeah, but if you then close it and open it again, the preview is fine and doesn't have that blue tint. So here, now you should kind of see OBS and me and whatever. And the chat over there. Yeah, maybe you can see it. I hope you can see that. And yeah, By the way, while that blue tint is there, if you take a photo, in my testing, it didn't seem to be in the photo too, so at least that's fine. And another app that's new here is one that I added this week to LINMOB apps, and that is Portfolio, because it was first released this week and now it's already here in Arch Linux ARM. It's a mobile, very small, simple, lightweight mobile file manager. Doesn't do a lot, but you can do stuff like create a new folder and then delete it again, and you will have to confirm, and bam, it's gone. Also search is there, but well, this is a really fresh install, so there are basically no files on this. Let's see how the download's going. 7 minutes left. Yeah, this stuff is really boring. Takes forever. It's almost like Nbox, where you always have to wait when something goes wrong and then, no, will it start again? Oh, maybe it will. But I'm going to have to tackle Nbox in the next 2 days. Next 3 days. Anyway, and I might do that live on YouTube if you want to watch that. But I will have to be disciplined and not react too much to the chat, because I'm going to use this material for a talk that I'm preparing. Basically pre-cut for RC3. I don't know. Do you know what RC3 is? Please answer. If anyone is listening. Yeah. All those effects are funny. So I've got a new audio interface. That's that. It's better than my old one. It's not perfect. Hi. Release candidate 3. No, it's have you heard of the Chaos Communication Congress? That's a conference that yearly in Germany, and takes place yearly, and it's always December 29th, 27th to December 30th, and you can find old recordings at, I'm briefly going to enter that URL because, well, they don't usually have great domains that are very memorable. You find at media.ccc.de, you're going to find some recordings of this stuff. So Chaos Computer Club is German society of hackers, if you want to call it like that. And well, this year with COVID, there can't be no 37C3, so there can't be no 37th Chaos Communication Congress, and therefore there's a remote Chaos experience, December 27th to December 30th. And I'm just briefly going to see if I can find the domain so that you can read more, but the schedule isn't up yet, so don't expect too much. Tickets are gone, but live streams will be free, so if you've got nothing to do during those days, you can take part and watch live if you want to. And I think some of the feedback channels will be open because it will be on IRC or something. And I decided earlier this month in November. No, it was late November. Oh yeah, I'm going to give a talk, and then I basically forgot about it until 2 days ago, where I was like, oh, I shouldn't write that review blog post that I'm trying, or well, I should draft it. but I shouldn't finish it because, when you write, at least for me, it's like takes some time to start it. And then if it's a longer thing, you really want to polish it a bit. And that takes almost exactly as long. Or longer. So I'm going to draft that and then use it for my talk that I'm going to give in a couple of days. Yeah, that's going to be fun. So let's see what's happening here. Again, I am downloading Mobian to install it to eMMC from the Arch Linux ARM install on the SD card, which is, well, I don't know whether it's a good idea. I don't think it is a good idea, and you shouldn't do it without having your PinePhone plugged into power, I think. But I'm going to do it anyway because it's possible, and this means that the PinePhone is, if it comes with something pre-installed and you've got an SD card, is essentially a self-sufficient system. So you can download any other operating system and flash it to SD card, and then you can boot into that SD card by just rebooting, because SD card is always booted first, as you know. And then you can download another one on that SD card and flash it back to the eMMC. And then you have to open your PinePhone again to take out that SD card, because otherwise that would boot first again. But yeah. And then if you take into account stuff like docks like this that have display port on the back, or where is it? My funny lap dock thingy. Oh my god, all those fingerprints. And this light is brutal. Or just that standard Pine 64 convergence dock, which I had on my desk earlier today, and I put it somewhere because it was in the way and I don't know where it is. Yeah, whatever. You know what that thing looks like. That black funny thing with the HDMI port and the two USB-A ports. Like this. PinePhone could be your only computer. I mean, it would be a slow computer, but if you've got the time and you don't have the money, why not? I mean, it's a possibility. And that's something I've been wanting to explore for a long time, because that's something I always figured it would be possible. And now the installer is completely downloaded. That's great. So let me try GNOME Disk again, because I tried that on the earlier part that I just recorded and didn't stream. So let's try to install it. It must be something like pacman-s. Well, let's do a full upgrade in process. Why not? And then GNOME Disk utility, I think. God, I'm not even able to write properly here. And I should just check the screen and not look on the PinePhone screen, because I see what I'm recording here or streaming here on my computer screen, so it's totally unnecessary to look at the PinePhone screen and go down like this. Yeah. Great, so that apparently worked. And now I might run into that issue. Okay, didn't load that icon yet. Okay, there the icon is. Great. Now attach disk image. Let's see if it can do with compressed images. Downloads. Hello. Oh god. These file management dialogues, they are still sometimes Slightly infuriating, I have to say. Okay, that doesn't look good because it doesn't say, yeah. If it's a XZ or XZ compressed file, it can extract that, but since Mobian is coming as a gzip, that's not going to work here, so I'm going to have to go to the folder here and then I think that should be the right command. Let's hit tab. Okay, once would have been enough. And let's unzip that. And that's going to take some time that I can use for more talking. If you're curious, if there are any questions you would like to ask, now is your chance. Oh, and I'm going to write those dates of RC3 here. I hope that there's going to be a Chaos Communication Congress in 2022. 2021 again. Yeah. 2022 is highly likely. 2021, we don't know yet, right? Stupid COVID. Yeah, these extraction, sorry, I'm turning off that effect. So extracting files takes a long time on the PinePhone. And oh my God, it really gets warm. It really gets that warm, but yeah. Just going to try and be patient, which is not something I'm particularly good at. So there's one thing I didn't check before, and that is whether the file system actually really expanded. So it might be that I just ruined my entire experiment by extracting that file with not enough free space available. That would be bad. So let's try that again. Okay, that's looking good. So let me... That's really dog slow. But then this SD card has terrible write speeds. It's about 20 megabytes at best, I think. So I've got others that are way faster, at least in devices that are on the PinePhone. I think I'm just going to let that crawl here. Yeah, something like TWRP would be nice, but then again, yeah, I think it should be possible if you had would make an image that contained jump drive or something with a pboot image on your eMMC that had alternative boot modes. And one of them would be in a separate partition, and then you could go and flash that stuff. But the reason TWRP works on Android is because Android has all these partitions, like the system partition and all this stuff, which is why you don't get more space for your files when you delete a bunch of system apps. Like all those dgoogle folks that are so big on degoogling always do. Doesn't gain you any space because the partition layer stays the same. Flashing without SD card is something that UBports does on every upgrade, essentially. Pardon, Ubuntu touched by UBports. Not that I'm getting told that it's not UBports, but it's Ubuntu Touch again, like I recently was told on Twitter, because I screwed up once. I usually get it right. Boy, this is really taking a long time. I'm really sorry. That's not very funny. But I'm going to edit this afterwards. I'm likely just going to use the image and Mahjong. No, can you tell me the specific app you're playing Mahjong with? Is it GNOME Mahjong or something? How's up? Because depending how the app is done, if it's wider, for example, then it's high. It might help to use scale to fit and then turn the orientation to landscape and then start it. Stuff like that sometimes helps. But I'm not huge on games. That's why I'm still looking for someone to maintain LINMOB apps.frama.io/games HTML. Oh, scale to fit, you applied it and it didn't help. So you got the proper ID and then you did it manually, or you scale everything with scale to fit? How are you doing that? Are you using that G settings method or going through it manually like I do? Oh yeah, I really should. I think if I do these streams, I really should have a hot cup of tea here, so that I can then lean back. Maybe I should get a comfy chair and then lean back and then sip my tea while the PinePhone takes forever. Now I could have prepared all this, but that wouldn't be fun either. By the way, as I said, I'm preparing for a talk at RC3. Link is in the chat. If you've got a topic that I should talk about, please get in touch. Write it here in the chat. Add me on Twitter or Mastodon. Write me an email. So many ways. Any ideas and feedback are welcome. It doesn't matter if someone else wrote the same idea earlier. Just have some kind of a great. You're driving and you're on the stream. That's great. Maybe not great for safely driving, but kudos. In some regions of Germany that wouldn't be possible because you wouldn't have any internet for, well, maybe enough internet to send a plain text email. But yeah. Also, you can hit me up on Telegram. I'm at LINMOB there. But other methods are preferred because I don't really like Telegram. I'm going to leave all Facebook services next year. So yeah, I'm going to make one more WhatsApp demo video and maybe one Instagram demo video, and then that's it. I'm done with that company. And Telegram is also on my list of services to get rid of. But I'm at LINMOB there, so get in touch. So now it finally extracted. And I can just go back to GNOME disks. And now go to attach disk image. Take this Alpha 3 Mobian installer from the 15th. So it's just over a week out. Well, 1 week and a day old, I think. 8 days. Attach that. And yeah, now how do I... Problem is, I'm not seeing the main disk. Oh, this SD card reader here. That apparently is... and I did that all wrong. I shouldn't have attached these here. I'm going to undo that, because I don't need them at devices, but the UI is different than it usually is, and yeah, then you get confused. So now I'm going to say restore disk image, and here that's the right device. eMMC is MMC BLK2, and the SD card is 0, which is maybe confusing, but well, that's how Pine64 decided it to be, so we're going to live with it. And now we can do open this image, and it's a lot smaller than the target device, but that doesn't matter. And we're going to hit start restoring. And now, well, all existing data will be lost. Well, that's not a problem, because I never really used that post-market OS stable image I put on there. By the way, that was during a live stream too. And now I'm authenticating, and it's restoring the disk image to the eMMC. Yeah. That's also going to take a while, most likely. So I could run top here. But we don't see the processes, so that's really useless. Make it that smaller. I hope you can still see that. Top generally is... yeah. I don't like it. So I'm just going to quit it and install something else. And that is Glances, which is in principle similar software. And I always forget its name because it doesn't have a top in it, like bash top, htop, and all those others. Yeah, and now we can see, okay, there's really some CPU load there. There's some disk I/O going on, of course. It's reading from the second partition of the SD card and writing to the eMMC. You can see there in the left corner here. It's nice when you can see it like that, you know something's happening. It's not just a GUI that's telling me some crap. Also new in this release of Arch Linux ARM is that it comes with ZRAM swap pre-installed. So but Glances is really nice. It also tells you the battery and so on. So it's really thermal information. It's getting quite hot. 68 degrees. CPU. Battery is 55% charged. But I think we're going to make it. I mean, at that rate, it's going to take a while until those 8 gigabytes are written. But I'm positive that it's going to work. Really feels weird to be a talking head YouTuber now. I'm really not used to doing that. So, any more questions? I don't know. My favorite distribution, something like that, I don't know. I mean, I can talk all day, in theory, but I don't want to bore you. Otherwise, if I don't talk, it's even more boring, most likely, so yeah. I'm still waiting for my Librem 5. I was hoping that I would receive it in 2020 because in Germany we've had for the second half of 2020 we had a lower value-added tax rate. But because I'm like, I don't know, number 3,000 or something in line, I will have to wait until next year. Not sure when I'm going to get it. I hope that it's going to be before March or before, I don't know, before the summer, during the pandemic time, so that I can still do a lot with it and be not like, oh my god, I want to go out again, pandemic's over, I'm vaccinated, I don't want to play with this Librem 5. But yeah, but they are shipping now, and Gardner Bryant, formerly the Linux Gamer, did a couple of videos about it, which were quite nice, I think. I mean, of course, I always have notes where I'm like, oh, could have done that differently, but then I know how annoying it is to get those comments myself, so I really learned to hold back and try and be supportive, because it's so often when you're making a video, you know during the editing that something isn't right, and you can try to fix it, and then you forget, or well, sometimes it would be better to just redo the video, but you're running out of time. You know, you only have those couple hours for this hobby. YouTube, Linux YouTubing is really a hobby, I think, for almost everybody. I don't know how many can actually live from that. I mean, they're all usually consultants or something, so they're making the money elsewhere. And even if you've got a ton of Patreons, I mean, you can't. That's helpful, but it's just another income source, so you can't live off that. And then, yeah, you wanted to do that video this week, and you want to stick to schedule. You want to get it out because you're already deep into the next video, and then you put something out, and you know it's not good, and then somebody comes to the comments or Twitter or Mastodon or somewhere else and points it out to you. Yeah, this is wrong. And by the way, actually, WebOS was founded by Palm and not HP. And you knew that all along, but you misspoke and you didn't catch it in editing. And then you've got that comment there. And you're like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Shall I take my samurai, my katana, and or what? I mean, you can't edit videos after the fact. I mean, you can add some stuff in YouTube Studio, but not very much. It's actually surprising how little you can do there. I would have expected so much more from YouTube Studio before I started YouTubing, because I figured like, well, yeah, it's Google and Chromos and maybe real video editing and sound and everything and proper and whatnot and usable in the cloud, and they've got all those computing resources and whatever. And yeah. So after that rambling, any advantages of the Librem 5 over the PinePhone? Well, that's a big topic. Now, actually, there was some discussion about this today on Twitter, even about some aspects of the Librem 5 regarding firmware and firmware upgradability and so on. There's this guy who I think is the head guy between GrapheneOS and no, it wasn't him. It was the guy who does the M1 port, is going to port Linux to the M1. That guy got into some kind of a rant argument with someone from Purism. I think it was Sebastian Krychowiak. DOS is his nickname. Let me see if I can find that just like that. It should be here. Let's go back to where that thread starts. Oh my god, that's really a long one. And they're not stopping. Oh my god. I'm going to copy the link and paste it into the chat if I find my way back. So that's one of those Librem 5 versus PinePhone pain points where those two devices do something different. Now, the Librem 5 has a much more modern CPU. That doesn't mean it's a ton faster. It's also quad-core A53, but it's manufactured in 24 nanometers. Doesn't really matter. 24 nanometers versus the A64's old 40 nanometer node. I mean, you know, they are all ramping up 4 nanometer right now, so, well, yeah. So that's better. That chip has a better GPU that has an actually open driver, and most notably, that GPU supports OpenGL ES3, which sounds like not much, but because the PinePhone only supports OpenGL ES2. And let me show you this here. Did that go through? Because I was trying to build some software here, but apparently it died. Trying to build LINPhone from the AUR, like I don't know. You know, sorry for that noise. So I'm going to restart this one because I can show you something. So GTK4 is going to bring some GPU acceleration to GTK finally, and that's totally great, and it really has to happen. But the problem is, currently I think they only support OpenGL 3, and then these phones often they don't have the proper OpenGL, but they have ES, which is the mobile variant. And that's something I think ES may come, and I don't know whether the Librem 5 actually supports OpenGL ES3 or OpenGL 3. I would have to look it up. I can put a link of a hardware specs comparison in the show notes, in the chat. I will do that shortly. And so the Librem 5 is better suited for GTK3 acceleration now. GTK4 acceleration. Yeah, that's one of the big advantages. Then they have those kill switches on the outside. They have a bigger battery in the Librem 5, about 1.5 times the capacity, and they are saying that that's enough to make it so that the phone lasts 12 hours with screen off but turned on, and therefore they don't need to do all that crust stuff, so they don't need to go to suspend to deep sleep, so that the CPU then has to be woken up by the modem when a call comes in, which is this problem with the PinePhone, where you can miss calls because the CPU is not fast enough at waking up. Although that situation has really improved a lot since Crust landed. We're now at, I think, common wisdom on Arch-Linux, ARM, Manjaro, and Mobian is that it takes 3 rings and then your phone is up and you can answer, which should be enough for most callers that actually want to call you, I think. Before we were at sometimes it would never ring in the early days. Then it was like 5 or 7 rings. Those beeps dudes you hear, by you're calling someone, and has this noise, or whatever it is. Maybe different from country to country. That's what I'm talking about when I say 3 rings. Yeah, that's something. And then, did I talk about the kill switches on the outside? I think that's something that's actually usable on the Librem 5. Faster specs, bigger battery, whatever, yeah. But then it costs a lot more. I mean, I got in early, so I paid $600, which, given all the impressive development Purism did, I mean, this software here, that's pretty much Purism's work, right? I mean, it's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty cool, I think, and it's great that they did that. I'm really proud. I'm really proud to have backed that project so early, actually. And I even told a friend who, some friends of his, one of, or acquaintance or whatever, some person he knows is a PureOS developer, and so he's hanging out in all those chat rooms and so on. And I told him, hey buddy, you can tell those guys, even if I should never receive my Librem 5, I'm happy with what I got with the investment, because, and that was 4 months ago, and if you would compare today's Phosh and today's GTK app ecosystem on the PinePhone to what it was back then, would say, wow, this improved a lot. And it was terrible back then. How could I ever use it? But yeah, the better is always the enemy of the good. So yeah, as we say in Germany. I don't know whether that translated or so. Yeah. So great. So Mobian should now be successfully flashed to this PinePhone. I hope you can read those labels here. So that's how it's partitioned right now. There's a boot partition, then there's free space, and then there's another partition that contains that installer. And I'm going to go through that install right now. And therefore I need to turn the power off and take out that SD card. Hope it's properly shut down. So that SD card I was using, that's rather slow. It's made by Kingston, and I paid €3 for it. Whatever. Perfectly fine for that money. No. let's start that Mobian installer. Green light, so Mobian's booting. There's the logo. Okay. Oh yeah, that's basically, I think, the same installer that I really don't like this keyboard because the preview is so similar in color that I always think, oh no, did I hit the wrong keys? And I'm just going to use that same pin I've been using on, that's the default on Arch. And now I will enable full disk encryption and use some stupid password. How about LINMOB 11? And again. Okay, now it will begin. And I think it said that I should connect the phone to power. Oops, sorry for that. And we'll just wait. Sorry for that noise. That's static. Yeah, there's a progress bar. And yeah, it's going on. So let me get back to my other PinePhone that's running an older Arch Linux ARM install that has been getting slow. By the way, recently yesterday QuickTit became available. That's a fairly nice app for Reddit, which is usually for Ubuntu Touch, but it also works on Arch Linux ARM. Now it's available in the Arch user repository. You can find it on LINMOB apps. And I think it's fairly nice. Yeah. But that's not what I wanted to show. I installed GTK4 from the AUR, and this is the demo app. I had to use scale to fit to make it fit, but when we then go, there are tons of stuff here that you can look at, and then there's OpenGL and Gears, and then I think there's some way to run this. Oh yeah, there. If I hit run here, it's likely going to fail. Yeah, look, it says it has a ton of FPS, but it's unable to create a GL context. So that's what I was talking about. The PinePhone GPU does not support OpenGL 3 or OpenGL ES 3, which GTK4 requires. Now it would be possible to make GTK4 support OpenGL 2 or OpenGL ES2. But of course, that would have to be patched in, and whether it's possible to get those patches upstream ever, because it's, well, questionable, because there's not that much hardware generally out of the ARM realm that only supports OpenGL 3. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem there. And now I guess I'm not going to be able to ever end these applications. They always fall back. So let me just try and open a terminal and kill them. There we go. So also one more advantage of the LINMOB 5, it supports 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi networks, so not just 2.4 gigahertz. But whether that's worth like, I don't know, 4 times the price, I think it is. If you compare the 3 gigabyte variants of both phones to you, well, that's something you need to decide on your own. Actually, I think it would be fair to compare the retail version, and that would cost $300 for this 3 gigabyte convergence PinePhone. So for this, I don't know, 750, 800 or whatever for the Librem 5, tough choice. But if you want to support the development of software for this platform, those platforms, Librem 5 is a great investment. And well, you could support them by taking part in that app challenge they are running right now, or get them some money by subscribing to their Librem 1 services, which I heard that they are not that great. So maybe just go for that app challenge and leave them some change, because they really pushed this. Of course, there's Plasma Mobile, and today Manjaro released Plasma Mobile Beta 1, and I'm going to have a look at it. I don't know, whenever I get to it. With Christmas, I can't really say. I hope I'm going to get to have a look at it on Saturday. But yeah, Purism really did something great here, and they deserve respect for it. But Pine 64 too. They've got different approaches, different pricing, slightly different devices with vastly different price points. So I actually don't know whether I would buy the Librem 5 if I would have to pay today's price, right? You know, I paid for that in 2017, so it's already written off. It's like past expense. You know, when I get that phone, it will feel like a free phone for me because, well, yeah, paid for that ages ago. And then, of course, there's all this interesting development going on around mainlining some of those Qualcomm system on a chip. So if kill switches are not a hard requirement for you, and you trust the inevitable proprietary Qualcomm firmware, maybe that's a great option for the future too. I've seen a video today in the Arch Linux group. I'm there on Matrix, but I think most people are in Discord. And Tank12 shared a video showing the SuperTux card on the FX Pro 1X. I think FX Pro 1 it was, not the X model that they now put out for XDA, and that really looked promising. This SuperTux card with all the bells and whistles, that's quite something. So, but again, that device is very expensive too. But then I think the Xiaomi, what was it called? There, a couple of years ago, $300, pretty great specs. Pocophone, the Pocophone maybe, one of the Xiaomi phones that have a decent top range, top-notch SoC is close to mainland support too. So, and those are really cheap if you get them used on eBay. And now I'm playing a song with a tool code uplay. Well, yeah, sorry for that. That installer, I'm going to wait for that installer to finish and to boot into Mobian once. That's something I will have to do. I think I can disconnect the phone. Should have enough of a charge. So in order to not have to hold it here all the time, I'll just put it there. And if you've got any more questions that I could try to answer, I'm happy to do so. By the way, I'm just going to try and find that spec comparison link. Now that is on Purism's forums, but I read it carefully and it seemed alright, so it wasn't any propaganda or something. Or at least not very good propaganda. Wasn't wrong. Yeah. So if you've got further questions, just ask. And if you've got ideas for my talk or something that you would love to see, already got Nbox on my list because, well, everybody wants to know, how can I run this Android app I need? And the answer is, I don't know whether your banking app is going to run. I don't know whether it's going to run in Glowdroid. I don't know whether it's going to run in Nbox. And I can try to install it on my PinePhone, but I don't have an account with that company, so I can't test whether it's really going to work. And stuff. I really would hope that somebody would revive Spurf. Spurf was another effort for Android apps by Collabora. You know, those guys who work on the kernel, on a LibreOffice and all that stuff. Great contributors to open source. And why am I writing Collabot? Running Android Next. So I'm going to show you the announcement, and please, if you're here and you're watching, go read it. And guess why I think it never took off. Maybe you're going to have the same impressions. Just have a look at the date and have a look at the name of the author. I think, yeah, just check it out. Because the demos look quite convincing, but I've never got around to build this for Arch Linux ARM or some other distribution. Because it's going to require a whole lot of compiling, and this computer I'm recording this from is still stuck at 16 gigabytes RAM. I need to upgrade that. And not buy any more old phones that I have so many of. Like, I bought an N900, but I haven't done anything with it. Hello, Noah. I'm fine, thanks. Hope you're fine too. You're running PureOS on your PinePhone, right, Noah? I think I saw some chatter from, I recognize your name from one of those, I think the Mobian group on Matrix. shell processes job. Oh, you're the one who did that. That great script on GitHub. Is it the one that I linked in one of my past videos? Well, anyway, I mean, but that script or another one, thank you for contributing this, because it's great to have an opportunity or some way to run PureOS on the PinePhone and check it out. What Purism's doing, what they are doing, because they are doing some things differently, and they have some apps that they really polished, like SuperTux Card, for example, runs great on PureOS, and you would have to tweak it manually everywhere else. I tried it on this Arch Linux install here, and oh my god, that was quite the experience. I still have it installed, and I didn't get into configuring it even more, even though I have some idea what to do now. And you see that's all blurry. And oh, I shouldn't put it there. So what's happening here with Mobian? Oh yeah, now that's successfully installed. So I managed to install from the SD card, first from the eMMC to the SD card. Oh, sorry, that's really too loud. So I managed to install an operating system from the eMMC to the SD card, then rebooted, downloaded another OS, and to that SD card and flashed it to the eMMC, all on the PinePhone without any other computer, just internet connection and a power supply. So that's possible. So in my view, that PinePhone can be, at least if it's one where the video out works, can be, in theory, your only computer. It's going to be slow, but if you choose the right apps that work on slow hardware, then it could be fine. I don't know, just fooling around in Vim, using a lightweight browser. Perfectly possible to work with that. That's Mobian. Yeah, with end-to-end encrypted hardware here. Not end-to-end, bullshit. With full disk encryption. And before I was on the eMMC, I was using post-market OS with full disk encryption. So yeah, great. So thank you all for watching. I'm not going to publish this. This was quite fun. It's going to be likely, I'm hoping to be able to use at least part of this as B-roll for my talk at R33, the remote chaos experience. Please check out media.ccc.de. Great stuff. You can learn a lot there, and everything should be translated, or almost everything should be translated to English. So it's not some German only stuff. I mean, may not all be perfect, and some of the English may sound very German like mine, but yeah, I think should be fine. And it's really great content there, so make sure to check that out. Thanks for watching, and see you soon, but likely not before Saturday, the 26th. Bye-bye. And if you've got stuff I should put in my talk, please get in touch. Email, Telegram, Twitter, Mastodon. You can find it all on my blog. Well, Telegram not, but I'm at LINMOB on Telegram, so easy. Bye. Have a great day, people. And stay healthy. If you are of the Christian faith, have a great Christmas holidays. And if you're not, also have a great time. If you've got time off and so on. Yeah, stay safe. And have a good one. Bye-bye.